Go
Okay,
live once. Well, I just clicked it myself on this side, so it's okay. Okay, good luck.
okay. All right, Shrama Bhagavan, we are live. Hello, everybody from Thailand. This is Dr. G. Please go ahead and fire away with your questions. Question is, what exactly do we mean by vigilance in the context of depth healing? When it comes to vigilance in the context of depth healing, I'm referring first and foremost to the consciousness and the mental intention of never giving up or sustaining your effort, sustaining and maintaining your path. That is what I mean by vigilance in the context of depth healing. Always remember, depth healing is a pathway of power dealing with consciousness. Consciousness is the key because that's all that exists is consciousness. Even if you look at a pen, it's consciousness. That's the fundamental of truth of all truths. Next. Next question from Jeanette. What do you consider as the most important qualities to have or develop as a person to be vigilant? Clarity, honey. The most important quality is clarity, your direction, your purpose, what you need to do. Clarity. Without that, you know, you have fog. Let me close this door. Never ceases to amaze me. Those guys across the road from me will be quiet for hours until I'm going to do a podcast. Okay, does that answer your question, honey? Next question. Jeanette again. How does one know one is vigilant and not fearful? And what aspects, feelings, emotions, thoughts define that difference? You can be as having fear and worry and things like that can go along with vigilance, and there's no problem with that. The trick with um, things like fear, living fear based and so forth, the trick is to become conscious and recognize it. Don't judge it. Just say, I'm fearful. I have fear about this. I feel fear about that. And then you go ahead and follow your path and do your work. That's all. That's all that means. Does that answer your question? Jeanette again, is it possible to be vigilant? Hold on, something's blocking me. Is it possible to be vigilant and have inner peace at the same time? And how to obtain, train this? Um, of course, let's take an example of an enlightened person who is very much at peace and has no fear. That's Eckhart Tolle, because Eckhart Tolle is a public figure who is enlightened. So he's very vigilant. He works nonstop, and he is in his beautiful, peaceful state. His mind is only active when he needs to do something practical. Otherwise, he lives in stillness, peace, and silence, and he does his work. Bhagavan, of course, is at peace and has all kinds of wonderful states. He's an avatar, and then he continues and does his work. Same with any spiritual person, they do their work because a human being has got to do work. That's the normal. The human body exists for motion, and effort. It cannot just sit. It'll just waste away. So they having a deep, high state of peace or whatever, and being vigilant, um, all of that just goes hand in hand. The part about vigilance is a continual um, state of consciousness on what you have to focus on, what your path is, what you're going to do. So vigilance means you're going, like for instance, when I had my car crash on March 3rd last year, 2024. So I'm the head of depth healing, and the Mahurta had just happened. There was a great deal to do, and then I was crippled in the car crash, but my work continues. So I was afraid, I was in pain, whatever it is, but my purpose and my vigilance for depth healing and my clients continues, irregardless. You know, that's what I mean, and my purpose, that nothing changes. Next question, please. Jeanette, Jeanette, you're really going after me today, huh? How does one prevent that vigilance becomes violent, anarchist, anarchy, violence, take right into one's own hands? Okay, so this is a very interesting question. Um, and I think that they're mutually exclusive. Violence or anarchy, something like that, where everything goes south and degenerates, that has to do with so many things. The moral character, whether they're on the dark side or they're with the light, um, their different programs, their destiny. So there's just so many things that could occur or may occur for things to go into anarchy. Um, you will see a great deal of anarchy coming in the future as AI takes over and people are eliminated, jobs are eliminated. Um, it'll be a test of character. I want you to think of vigilance like if I have a candle here and it never goes out. So the candle is the amount of consciousness, which includes the effort, the purpose, and the clarity on a mission or purpose. And that could be anything at all, from a camping trip to building a rocket ship to whatever it is. Now, the amount of vigilance in this situation is a candle. Over here, we have a Roman torch, and it doesn't go out either. The amount of energy and consciousness and everything is much greater. But the trick is it doesn't go out. It's sustained. Vigilance means we don't have a gap. We keep the heat on. It doesn't go out. That's what it means. Does that make sense to you? How is vigilant different from discipline or willpower? It's a good question. You can have vigilance in developing and using willpower. You can have vigilance and discipline are one and the same, pretty much, because you're looking at a human being. So, in order to apply vigilance, even let's say, let's take it down to a real simple uh, example. Let's take a guy that is living off the grid in a campground somewhere. And all he's got is his little burner, Bunsen burner. He lives simple off the land. He has no computer, no phone, and he's completely unplugged. It's just him and nature. He's got his little tent or lean-to, and that's his life. Vigilance is required so that he can sustain his life. He's got to be able to cook his food, find food, hunt food, acquire food. He has got to somehow take care of his body. He's got to somehow make a fire, and so forth and so on. If he doesn't do those things, he'll die. So to do those things, we can imply fundamental discipline so that he's alive. Willpower, let's say he sprains his ankle or he has some other big accident and he's by himself and he's got to either live or die. And he needs willpower to do what he's got to do. And he has to have a certain amount of drive. So all that stuff is all entangled, and you cannot separate them into separate categories. Vigilance is very much, as I'm referring to it, qualitative. Qualitative. It's quantitative too, but it's mostly qualitative. Okay, does that answer your question? Kimberly, a little late, but made. Hello, Kimberly. You're not too late, honey. We're just getting started. Depth healing. Why is vigilance such a critical quality for spiritual and emotional progress? Well, invert the question. Um, uh, let's see, how would we invert it? What would the wording be? What is the one quality that would, if you don't have it, you won't make any emotional or spiritual progress? Vigilance. You know, I was trying to help a client the other day, and it's a very common, especially in the beginning. In this person's issue is there's no vigilance at all. They have a very serious life issue, and what they do is what Bhagavan calls window shopping. So I let's say I give him a protocol to solve the problem, and immediately his mind, he says, yeah, but I read this the other day. So I answer that, and then he says, yeah, but so and so says this. I answer that. So if I do that, how much and when? So I answer that. If I do that, what if that happened? And it's just a relative loop. So he never gets started, and he has zero progress, zero, and never gonna. I explained very clearly, from today to the grave, there will be no progress at all unless you start and you're vigilant. You have to do it every single day. The frequency, duration, and intensity must be covered. So, no vigilance, no spiritual progress, no emotional progress, no nothing progress. Period. End of story. Okay? Lisa and Kimberly. Guess we're the vigilant squad. Yeah. Lotus, like, yes, we are. Hello. Okay, what is the next question, please, folks? How do I stay vigilant without falling into perfectionism or burnout? Well, um, I like that question actually. Burnout, burnout is a terrible thing. In 2024, transitioning 2023 to 2024, I developed adrenal collapse. My adrenal glands collapsed from stress when I had entered chiropractic school, and the college lost accreditation. They lost all of the money. There was a $15,000 that was missing from my loans. I had to transfer states, or I'd be thrown back into Canada. The stress was too much, and the workload was enormous, and my adrenal glands collapsed. That's not funny. It took over a year to. I had a 4.0 average back then. I had a photographic memory. And ever since the adrenal collapse, even after all these years, I do not have a photographic memory anymore. That damaged areas in my for the brain. For I dropped from a 4.0 average to a 2.0 average, um, and it took over a year to rebuild the adrenal gland so I could get through school. Um, you have to when it comes to burnout, because the way they design this world now, burnout is very easy. It's very, 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 very easy. What you have to do is um, look at your body, look at what you can and can't do. You have to know yourself. Like I was just talking to my admin this morning, Johnny. With me, I know that I can apply my brain to technical uh, like the digital data world in the mornings. I cannot do it in the afternoon. My brain fatigues out for that kind of data. I know my physical limits and I know my energetic limits, and they change throughout your life. You have to get to know yourself and your own pace. Many years ago, when I was doing depth healing, I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and I was never getting out of the chair. I was forgetting to eat, and I was only applying myself to all the people who needed me. And what was happening was my kidneys were starting to fail on me. Um, my health was going down, and I was headed for a breakdown. And uh, I had to pull that back in order to. I spoke with some very fine people, and I had to pull that back so that I had time in my day for exercise, to get out of this chair, um, to get back into nature, to ground, to do all the different things. So you have to. No one can do that for you. You have to find a peak level of activity, rest, nutrition. In the old days, in my 20s and 30s, I used to eat massive amounts of food because I was training 5, 6 hours a day. Now I only eat once a day, very small amount of food, and I'm fine. Your life and your body and your the demands on you and so forth change all the time. If you don't, if you try to only just push, 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 like I did in terms of martial art when I was younger and never rested, I broke my back in half. That made me rest. You know, like Bob Bukowski says, people think um, spending money on nutrition is too expensive. And Bob Bukowski tells them, if you want to see expensive, get cancer and go when you're paying the hospital bills. and you got to get all that stuff. Then you'll know what expensive is. So, we say one of my mentors, Dr. Ray Daly, taught me many long time ago. No matter which way you go in life, whatever you want to do, there is a price you pay. If you want to master meditation, you give up uh, beach parties and whatever different kinds of luxuries because you're living as like a monk, and there's a lot of things you have to pay. And then if you want to be a multimillionaire, you pay plenty in time, effort, relationships, fun. They asked Muhammad Ali, "What's the hardest part of your training?" He said, "Not enjoying all the women." Can't do that and be the heavyweight champion of the world. Can't do that. So there's always a price you pay. We say in Japanese martial art, they'll say you watch a swan on a clean pond, and the swan looks like he's just gliding, but underneath his feet are working very hard behind the scenes, and you don't know. People have no clue what it took for me to be able to sit here in front of you now. I don't know what it took for you to be sitting there in front of me now, but we all pay. Okay. Kimberly says vigilance for me feels like I'm on the front lines of a battle, fighting for not only myself but all life. Some days I'm quite tired. Some days I have tons of energy. Yeah, me too, honey. Me too. And anyone in the 81,000, that's what you're being trained to do, to take it on for the world. Even though my food choices are changing, I did have a key line. Okay, I'm sure it'll upset. Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing that. What is the next question, please? What subconscious patterns commonly sabotage vigilance? Hold on, my Srimuti fell. What subconscious patterns commonly sabotage vigilance? You can have cognitive dissonance that makes it easy for you to give up. As soon as you start something, you give up. You start something you never complete, even if it's going well. There's a program for not completing. There can be a program for getting bored very fast. There can be a program for all these things are downloaded, put into your software, and then through different associations and emotional experiences, they get hardwired. So that's why you come in to see me, and we look at those patterns, find out where the initial downloads were, remove them, ramp up your system, make sure there's no existing uh, current program that's still supporting that, and then you can move forward without that interference. And then you still have to apply your effort, but there's nothing in your subconscious mind that's going to stop you. Okay? Next, please. How will this collective help me dissolve those blocks and reinforce consistency? Well, it's very simple. So let's say you have a strong imprint that you acquired in the third program somewhere around third trimester, and it's related to your dad, and it has to do with giving up, just giving up, quitting. So what if that's in your if that is in your system, and you come to this collective and that gets exposed, it'll be dissolved, disassembled, and removed. In the collective, you have the totality of all data and software of however many people are there. One person's subconscious by the age of 7 is approximately 10 quadrillion bits of information, all entangled in various webs. If we have 60 people, we have 10 quadrillion times 60 for the same question. So the questions are going to open up files for everyone as a collective, and then the answers are going to be found, disassembled, and removed. And then that total consciousness of the group is elevated. So every time you come to a collective, you have the opportunity to have um, everything discovered at an enormously deep level that we wouldn't necessarily find if we were going at you individually. And because of that big blanket sweeping clearing, it can uncover and it will uncover things that are buried even deeper in you relative to this subject matter. And then that's when you will feel disturbed or you'll notice something. You come in for the privates following that. And in this month of May, this is the most powerful month of the entire year. Now we're behind on our posting and everything because when I moved from Chiang Mai to Pattaya, that's all my fault. So we're behind, but the full moons is up and on next week, I believe it is. The collectives this week. All this month is the most powerful month. People, millions, hundreds of millions all over the world, all acknowledge this month and are doing their own brands of seva processes and so forth. What does that mean to us? Well, we tie into it, and that's all available. The divine is recognized by all these different cultures, that the divine is meeting and available and assessing humanity in this month. So whatever your relationship is, in the 81,000, we're doing massive practices. It takes me hours every day. It's beautiful. And in the 7th program, Jupiter is moving into Gemini on the 14th. And for the first time in 12,000 years, Saturn hooks up with Neptune. And all of that is positive and huge and powerful. This is the month to get in to see me and to work deeply for real progress. And all of that field acts as an amplifier and an access point between you and the divine and yourself and life. And Kali Yuga's ended. She's gone down. The golden age has started, and concurrently, AI and all of that stuff's happening. So there's never been a better time to do this kind of work. Utilize it. Okay, now, what is a good way to talk with someone who is constantly sabotaging their self? It seems they are vigilant about doing so. Hi, Kimberly. The the trick to help somebody else is to help them become conscious of it. The way to do that is to uh, ask questions or steer their mind to self-examination to the best of your ability. They may be so stuck in projection in that they can't see anything. but that's about all you can do. That's why in depth healing, I have you close your eyes and the client says the question to open their file so that the issue is up in consciousness. In the 81,000, after they explain something, like Tejasaji explained something, then you'll see her say, now close your eyes and contemplate how that's working in your life, or what the whole trick for the divine to clear it is for us to be conscious of it. So if they're self-sabotaging, try to steer them to look at it by subtle questions. Pray for them. I pray for people that I know have that issue, that the divine makes it their consciousness so they can see it, they can intuit it, they become aware of it. Also ask the divine to uh, dissolve their self-sabotaging programs. That's what you can do, honey. And of course, get them in to see me if they'll do that. Remember, if someone is self-sabotaging, they're unconscious. And the problem with consciousness is we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And your brain is literally designed to make sure you won't know what you don't know. Unfortunately, it's actually designed for that. It's only looking for what you believe uh, and what you are looking for. That's what your brain does. It never looks for unconscious stuff. You have to make it look for unconscious stuff. So when they're self-sabotaging, they don't know that, and they're most likely living in victim consciousness. Next question, please. How do we recognize when we've lost vigilance? How do we realign quickly? Losing vigilance is pretty easy to do. You'll know because, and like in my case, and in most people's case, you'll feel uneasy. You'll feel sort of lost. Things will be vague. You're drifting. Now, that might go on for a while, but eventually there's like Dr. Ray Daly explained it to me like this. In a human being, we have a sort of a barometer. Now, unless it's all drugged out of you or sedated, or they're drunk, or they're on that ayahuasca stuff or whatever. Given that they're not doing all that stuff, there's a natural barometer that will say, I'm off, something's wrong. Now, once the awareness occurs, you have to reframe. My strongest advice is you get out a piece of paper with a pen and you write down first where you're at and what's going on. The what is, where I'm at, what's going on, because we have to start from where we are. So if we suddenly recognize, we become aware of the fact that I've lost my momentum, I've lost my direction, I'm not really going anywhere, I'm just wasting time. So you say that. Don't judge it, say it. Then you look at it and say, now where was I going? Or what was important to me? Look at that and then start to write down and realign and reframe and get started again. You have to start from where you are. Remember that movie that I told you guys to watch, Flight of the Phoenix, not the new remake. Get the original with Jimmy Stewart. Why? Because Jimmy Stewart was an actual ace, and uh, you know. Anyway, get that movie. That's a true story. What did they do in the movie? They have to start from where they are, and they lose vigilance. The only vigilance they had was sitting around waiting because they think they're going to get rescued. No rescue is going to come. So what did they do? They started from where they were with what they had, and they made it. Sometimes you won't make it. You'll die. You'll be killed. You'll drown. If you got to swim, if you fall overboard and the boat takes off, doesn't know you fell overboard, and the shore is 6 miles off, you can see it vaguely. You got to start swimming and doing what you got to do, what you got to do from where you are. And you may make it, you may not make it. The virtue is in going. Just because you go doesn't mean you make it. But the trick is in going, in doing, in striving, in trying. That's the juice of life. There's no guarantee. The only guarantee is that you die and you'll see the great compassionate light, and that's your guarantee. The rest of it is a journey. It's all a journey. Okay? How do we okay. Next question, please. Is there any food or supplement specifically to support strengthening one's vigilance? From Lotus Lux. Anything that is going to support your brain, pardon me, I got something in my eye. Anything that like really good, especially high DHA, omega-3s, and lion's mane for short-term memory, Ganoderma, anything like that for brain health will of course help you, because you've got to be able to function using that brain. And as far as a supplement goes, and be very well hydrated, and common sense stuff like that. Never eating processed foods. Eliminate that entirely from your life. And don't drink water that's in plastic, because of what that's doing to you. Stuff like that. As far as supplements goes, you got to fuel up, eh? Like I spend a great amount of money on my personal supplementation, so that I have my body temple can heal, it can operate, it has the energy, bioenergy to do what I have to do. So yeah, supplements. You have to supplement nowadays because the food is almost useless. By useless, I mean even if you eat organic, all organic means is that hopefully they're not lying to you, and it's not covered in pesticides, but it can still be all genetically modified. So genetically modified food is what I call Frankenstein food. It's all modified. And then the problem with the United States, especially, the ground is farmed out. So even if you eat something that's nice, it's not nutritionally dense anymore. So you supplement to make up the difference. That's very, very important, especially if you live in the United States or in Canada. Does that make sense? Kimberly, do you think the vigilance I have for the 81,000 is why I was shown where the others are? Or is that just part of my path? I think that's part of your path, honey. Kimberly is in the 81,000 and is undergoing a remarkable process. And those kinds of things have to do with your karma, where all of your other 10 programs are, your 7 koshas, the 7 bodies, the four pancha pranas, um, which has to do with your existence, and all of those different things, and whatever vigilance. If you didn't have vigilance, you wouldn't be here in the first place. Those kind of qualities are there. So there's just so many things, and I have no qualification to know what those are at all. You know what I mean? That's between you and your divine, specifically with Sri Alma Bhagavan. Next question, please. How does vigilance apply to relationships, parenting, or work life? Well, it applies to everything, right? Because it's the quality of your life will be proportional to the vigilance you have and the type of vigilance you have. So let's say you're the man asking this question, Johnny, is a dad. So parenting, if a parent isn't vigilant, the damage to the kids is, that's why I'm in business. At least 99.9% of all my clients are damaged from all of us from childhood. And parents are not conscious. You could put how many conscious parents there are on the head of a pin. It was nobody's fault. It's just that's the way it is. So they lose vigilance. Child needs, when we're a little child, we need love or a hug, and mom or dad are too busy. Their mind is on the television or their phone, or worried about something, and they don't notice. They have no. There's their consciousness. There isn't a part of vigilance attached to the child, so they don't notice. Or there's a certain amount, but it's got huge gaps. Candles lit up, candle shuts off. Candle lit up, candle shuts off. Or they're absent completely. So the vigilance, the lack of vigilance there is completely damaging forever unless it's changed the whole life of their kids. And then work, you go nowhere. You pay your bills if you can, and you get old and you die. Like Bhagavan says, you die like a cockroach, no different. 1 minute you're alive, next minute you're dead. If you want to have a qualitative life, you must have the vigilance to apply yourself to the process of life, to your body, to all your relationships, to everything. It has to have the vigilance of consciousness and awareness, and then effort, and it needs the right kind of effort with culture and ethics and virtue and it's all entangled. But vigilance is the glue. It's the glue. Does that make sense? Next question. Next question, please. Shiba. Hi, Dr. G. What messages or lessons might my pain be trying to communicate to me, and how can I learn to listen to my body more attentively? Well, one, come in to let me teach you. There's lots to learn. I've been studying that kind of question for 54 years. Fundamentally, if you have a physical pain of some kind in your body talks in symbols. And like, for instance, let's say a basic shoulders would be like responsibility, what you can carry on your shoulders. Right shoulder, future. Left shoulder, past. Liver is very famous for issues regarding anger. Leg pain, which leg, right or left, future or past, or both? Um, your mobility in life, your ability to stand on your own feet and take on life and your responsibilities, carry yourself, your ability to move, how grounded are you, your inability to move, all of that. That's your body's talking to you. Throat issues. Think of what are you either not expressing or expressing that you need to Hello, hello. Hello. We lost internet. Sorry about that. It was something to do with my hotel, but Johnny fixed us up. So let's see here. I was answering Sheba. Can you guys hear me? I hope. Says I'm live. Um, so anyway, the body will talk to you in symbols with where you're hurt or where you feel the pain or the kind of pain. Okay. And then the trick is to become aware of that and to look at it directly so that you can try to understand what to do. And always get a hold of me and I'll help you with that. Okay, that's my specialty. Are you there? Hello, Kathy. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Um, let's see comments. They lost internet over here. That's all that happened. Sheba, how can I create a legacy of healing, vigilance, and empowerment for future generations, ensuring that my journey positively impacts others? Wow, what a beautiful question, honey. Well, I believe in leading by example. So the first thing is for you to be uh, experience and go through and continually try to heal yourself physically, emotionally, in every way that you become aware you need healing. By never giving up, um, your example, we say iron sharpens iron, man sharpens man. Um, that comes down from King Solomon. It's very, very important. In the Japanese traditions, martial tradition, we say cup to cup. That's why I've decided to do mentorship, because I will pass on as a legacy knowledge, information that's taken me over five decades to acquire. Plus, I'm a channel, so with me you have access to the divine through me. So your example by living and doing and being, that is how you move for the future generation. And then if you feel you're able to, you try to teach, share, write, um, find vehicles to help to that you can help people. But you never want to be a hypocrite, eh? The world is full of people there, they have no actual ability at all. They're fake. It's all a lie. All they did was copy. They read Mr. A, and then it goes in this ear and out their mouth. Worthless. And there's a caveat to that. Those fake teachers, there's a karma that goes with that, and it's a serious karma, very serious. Bhagavan has warned about that. So don't teach until you're ready. Eh? If you're ready, go ahead. But if you're not ready, be like wine. Don't serve wine until it's ready. Same. That's why it took me many, many, many decades before I went public at any level. Okie doke. Next question. Time's up. Fully booked today. Okay. Thank you all very, very much. Please don't let May go by without seeing me. That's a mistake. This is 2025. They're never going to repeat. We're at a historical time now. This is history in the making. Kali Yuga down, 250,000 year age down, golden age up, concurrent with and entangled with AI and the quantum compute. All that is happening. Don't miss May. Don't miss May. Get in to see me, and I'll take care of you. Bye for now, guys. I love you all very, very much. I have a client waiting for me, so I'm going to go. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.